billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina wa habibi qulubina Abil Qasim al-Mustafa Muhammad wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin wa sahbihi al-muntajabin. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. In this program, which is being presented to you from the Holy Shrine of Imam Rida, peace be upon him, I am going to continue from the previous program in which we answered the question as to whether it would be possible for someone to move from one prayer to another form of prayer. For example, from a noon prayer into an afternoon prayer, from Maghrib to Isha or from Isha to Maghrib, and the conditions surrounding these rules. In the previous programs, we discussed the circumstances where such conversion, such move from a prayer to another prayer would be permissible and allowed. In this program, we are going to discuss the circumstances where such conversion and moving would not be permissible. One of such circumstances is when you actually move from a first to a second prayer in terms of their row and in terms of the way and routine that they must be performed. For example, we all know that we must first perform our noon prayer and then perform our afternoon prayer. First Dhuhr and then Asr. First Maghrib and then Isha. So when you are performing your Maghrib prayer, you may not move into the Isha prayer in the midst of your Salat. And the same applies for a noon prayer and an afternoon prayer. You cannot convert your Dhuhr into Asr while you are praying Dhuhr. That is not permissible. You are not also allowed to move from a prayer that is qada. You're making up for a prayer which you have missed. From this kind of prayer, you may not go to and move to a prayer which is ada, which is a duty within its own time and place. So you cannot move from qada to an ada prayer. Also, for example, when you are in a mosque and taking part in jama'ah, in a congregational prayer, you cannot move from an individual or frada prayer to a jama'ah or congregational prayer. The fourth type, which is not allowed, is when you move from a recommended prayer, mustahab, to a prayer which is wajib. For example, you are doing your supererogatory prayer, which is mustahab or recommended. Suddenly you decide to move from that prayer and convert that prayer into a prayer which is wajib and ada. That would not be possible. And the same applies vice versa. You're not allowed to move from an obligatory, a wajib prayer or salat to a recommended one, to a supererogatory or mustahab prayer. And finally, you may not move from a recommended prayer to another recommended prayer. For instance, you cannot convert your supererogatory prayer into another supererogatory prayer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.